I am back. Now, back from what, you might ask? Well, I am back from Southeast Game Exchange. Now, I was kind of debating whether I wanted to do a video because being transparent, this is not my first time at Southeast Game Exchange, but this year was a little different. Because of the roster of content creators and just the amount of stuff to do, I decided to go all 3 days for the first time ever. I've never been every day to a con before, and I am fucking tired. For context, I'm recording this just a few days after it's ended, and granted, I don't know if I'm actually going to post this video, but I wanted to kind of record a record of what happened. So let's talk about it. Cue Good Mythical Morning intro. So, Southeast Game Exchange ran, or I guess Southeast Game Exchange 2026 ran from July 17th to July 19th of 2026. And when I talk about fun, that shit was F-U-N fun. It was a long weekend, very long weekend, because I was a VIP. Yes, I did spend an absurd amount of money on this ticket, but I figured I wanted to do it because I knew I probably would never do it again, more than likely. This specific Southeast Game Exchange had a bunch of creators that I've admired for years. It had a lot of things, really. And, you know, events that I did not think I would ever be able to see, that I would be able to see. So I bought the VIP pass. Now, I do want to bring up the past few years. So these are the years I've gone to Southeast Game Exchange. This is year number 3, and yeah, I went in 2024, 2025, and 2026. As you can tell, hopefully, yeah, as you can tell, each year has a theme. There's like a game or a series that the year is based off of. So in 2024, it was Metal Gear Solid. In 2025, it was Donkey Kong. And now in 2026, likely because of the attendance of several of the Red Dead voice actors, and by that I mean like quite a few of them. It was based off Red Dead. Yeah, Red Dead Redemption. Yeah. There was a lot of Red Dead going on throughout the con. Now, starting with the badges themselves, I gotta be honest, between these three, this is my least favorite. This one just looks like bad. I just don't like it. Like, this is probably the best one. It's so good. It's simple, but it's good. Now, comparatively to past years, obviously, since I only went one day, as you can tell, I only went Saturday in the past. Today, or this time, not today. This time, I went all 3 days. And got in an hour early, and that was quite an experience, let me tell you. I have never seen the convention hall so empty. But, yeah, so I'm gonna do this a little bit differently than I do most of my collection videos. I'm gonna take it day by day and show you what I got. So Friday is going to be the longest section in terms of talking about what I got, because that was the day I bought most of everything. So let's talk about that. Cue it again, except like slow and reverb. Obviously, we'll get these out of here. So I'd like to start this video by talking about the process of actually getting in. So I bought my ticket, like, and there it goes. I bought my ticket, like, I want to say 2 months in advance. Okay, here's all the sponsors. And you can download the app if you'd like. It's not going to be much help. But yeah, so to start while I explain this. So I bought my ticket about 2 months in advance. And I was pretty determined to do the VIP the moment I knew who all was going to be there. It was just so, it was so awesome and everything. But we have the lanyard, which is very cool. Better than the badge. So, yeah. So, I got there a couple minutes before 9 and, or no, it wasn't 9 that day. It was a couple minutes before 1. And, I went in and had to stand in line. The VIP line was actually kind of long, all things considered, but wasn't, like, too bad. But, yeah, so we stood in line, we got our badges, and we got a couple other goodies, including this sticker from Secret Castle Games. Yeah. It's pretty cool. Didn't have any merch there, so I'll take it. Alongside that, we also got this. It was just like a raffle thing. I didn't really participate much in the fake portal, any circuit, any of that, so I didn't really use this. But of course, since we were VIPs, we got a whole slew of things. Of course, the lanyard and the sticker, but we also got, and I'm going to try to get it in frame, we got this drawstring bag. So we have this bag. It's going to be kind of hard to show. It's pretty big, but we have the drawstring bag. Just got SEGE 2026 on it. It's pretty cool. Kind of a canvas sort of texture to mimic sort of whole Red Dead vibe. So yeah. But yeah, so overall very cool bags, got a nice texture. I'll try to turn it around. There you go. Very cool bag. And of course, in the bag came a few other goodies. First of all, we got this pen. Bring it up closer. So we got SEGE 2026 on it. It's a very nice pen. There's not really much on the back. Yeah. A very neat pen. We also got another thing that I'm going to have trouble getting in the frame. We got a collectible bandana. I'll try to like fold it up like a normal bandana. Both sides are the same. But oh god. But as you can kind of see, we got some characters on here, like you got the Red Dead, I think Zelda. Want to say this, that guy from Dungeon Meshi, because Prosy was there. I might be wrong. And then Silver and Sonic, of course, because of Roger Craig Smith and Silver's voice actor. I'm sorry. Another neat thing is you might notice the outside pattern. No! You might notice the outside pattern. I'll show you here. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the Konami code. I found that to be a very neat detail. I didn't actually wear it at the event, but a lot of people were. A lot of people were wearing the bandanas. So that's pretty cool. So the last thing we kind of got in our care package in the VIP package was the shirt. Kind of get a close up. I'll try to get this whole thing in frame. So yeah, we got the shirt, the yearly shirt. Why is there so much cat hair? Yes, we got the yearly shirt, and I'm gonna try to get the whole art. Maybe you can see it. It's got Arthur, John, and Dutch. Southeast Game Exchange 2026. Very cool shirt. Came standard with the VIP package, and overall, it's a pretty cool shirt. Now, the last thing that was in our little care package was a wire controller for the Switch. It's some like off-brand one, you can kind of tell. I mean, I appreciate the gesture. It's always good to have like a backup, but you know, it's... And they were all different brands because the people in front of me got a different one. As far as I remember, we got it was oh no, it was pretty funny, honestly. And now we can finally get into the main event. What the fuck did I buy at Southeast Game Exchange? So on Friday, that was my main day to look around, and I had a couple of chase games. And so we'll start with the first purchase. Mario Hoops 3 on 3. So my friend has owned this game for a long time, but I never had. And I was like, sure, I'll pick it up here. I kind of want it. So I ended up finding it for like $15. And not bad. And then I found one that was in the case for $20. And I was like, well, damn. So, oh well. We got Mario Hoops 3 on 3. This was like my number 3, I would say. Or, yeah, my number 3 most wanted game. I was really hoping to find it, and I did. I found it pretty early on, so that was a good find for me. Next, we have my number 1 find. The allegations are true. I did buy a copy of Madden 08 on the Wii. So, as some of you probably know, Scott the Woz was there, and we'll talk about him in a sec, but... I bought this simply because he was there. My initial goal was to try and see if I could get him to sign it. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance. So many other things happening. But that's okay. Because, you know, I didn't own Madden 08. And now I do. The case is correct. I mean, it was a $5 game, to be fair. I don't even know if it works. But that's okay. Yeah, I got it from Sizzling Games. It had a bunch of inserts in here. Ugh. Yeah. So, I bought this mostly as a joke. Not really from much other than that. So, let's talk about my actual number 1 game. So, I've been playing through the Spyro games this year. Also, I would like to say to all Spyro fans, you're fucking welcome for Realms Beyond. I definitely willed this into existence. This is all me. I will take full credit for this happening. You're welcome. Q, you're welcome from Moana, the animated, not the live action. We don't talk about that. But I finished the first Legend of Spyro game, A New Beginning, like right before Southeast Game Exchange, and I was hoping to find the third game in the series, Dawn of the Dragon. And ladies and gentlemen, after much heartache, I found a copy of Dawn of the Dragon. I paid way too much for this, to be honest. Yeah, these games are not cheap anymore. I don't know why, but it could have been worse. I talked the guy down a couple bucks. But I was happy to find this. I found one copy on PlayStation 2. I found a few copies on the Wii, but the other 2 games I have, and I'm not going to pull them out because the situation on that shelf is precarious. As you can kind of tell from the other 2, I had the others on PS2 as well, and so I wanted to complete the trilogy and everything. So, yeah. So I finished A New Beginning, but I've yet to get to Eternal Night, and I've heard mixed things about this, but I'm excited to play Cinder in this, and that is exactly why I bought it. So yeah, these were the games I picked up. So this was my number one. This was the game I wanted the most. This is my third most wanted game, and I bought this as a joke. So, make of that what you will. Now, I didn't just buy games on Friday. It was a lot of what I bought. But I also bought art. Shh. There are a lot of artist vendors that end up, showing up at Southeast Game Exchange. A lot of cool stuff. Here's what I got. I got Grand Blue Fantasy art. You're talking to the guy who is literally AFK grinding Grand Blue Fantasy Relink Endless Ragnarok as we speak. I quite literally spent way too much money on the expansion of the card game. Because she is a baddie. But more importantly, she's there. And so I decided to pick up the some art that my friends have pointed me to. So we'll go through them real quick. Here we have Zeta, who used to be one of my mains and Relink before Endless Ragnarok. Then we have Matera, who is not in Relink, so well. I do like this art, it's very nice. And then, of course, my favorite character here, Narmaya. She's great. So, I got some small art, but I also got some large art. And it's so big that I'm going to have to show you here. It is as you can kind of tell, there is a Club Nintendo promo poster. Now, if you don't know what this poster originates from, it is actually a Smash 4 trailer for Palutena. There it is. I'll show a better photo on screen, but yeah, so I've always liked the Smash 4 trailer, and it was honestly cheaper than I thought it was going to be, so I figured I would pick it up and hopefully frame it. So, that was a very nice find. I was very happy to find it. Especially because last year, because I don't know when else I'm going to show this off, I picked up another Club Nintendo item, which is actually a Mario pin badge set, as you can see down here. 2011 special reward for North American Platinum members. This is back when Club Nintendo actually did cool rewards. I also got this for very cheap last year. It might have actually been the same price, but as you can see, it's a bunch of badges. So yeah, this is one of the things I picked up last year. And yeah, it's very cool. And I figured I'd mention it because I'm talking about Club Nintendo right now. That was what I bought. However, there was one main event that happened on Friday, and that was the first of 3, I think. Maybe more. Might have been 4. The first of several Scott the Woz meet and greets. I've been a fan of Scott for quite a few years, and this is the first time I ever got to meet him. So, the line was over by, a lot of the other... was over by, where a lot of, the voice actors and, bigger content creators were. He was in between Nate Wants to Battle and Sungwon Cho. So that was pretty funny. But yeah, so Scott was actually giving out a few things as well as doing autographs and photos. Here is my photo with Scott, which should be on the screen right now. I'm also going to cut away really quick and talk about Scott the Woz posters. Now, I already had this poster, not signed, of course, but I got this poster with the second run of the Scott the Woz Monopoly. The poster came with it for free, and I decided to take it and get it signed by Scott. So we got the signatures there. So that was awesome. But then he also gave out a poster with the bag, which we'll talk about in a second. And there we have this poster. It's very nice art. I really like the art on this poster. I'm gonna get a closer look. You can see the different signatures. Got some down there, and then those there. All in all, both of them are very cool. And now, back to the bag. And here is the bag. Yeah, boy. It's just like a canvas bag. A lot of people were carrying them around. But yeah, it's very cool. Giving this out for free was actually so cool. That still makes me really happy. Yeah, very nice. You got the Southeast Gaming Exchange logo, Scott the Woz. Scott the Woz at Southeast Gaming Exchange. You'll have to forgive me. There's some construction going on, literally like in my back fucking yard. So cool, great, yeah. Anyways, so at 7 p.m., day one of Southeast Gaming Exchange came to an end. However, that was not the end of the day, as there was the opening night party at Spare Time, which me and my friends went to. There's a David Wise concert. We got like a free hour of games. Of course, no tickets or anything, so it was kind of like whatever. It was fun. Played the arcade a little bit. Got to listen to like one song of the David Wise concert. It was great. Got to see Scott the Woz in this video. Overall, it was pretty fun. The food was kind of mediocre, but that's okay. You know it's bad when convention food is better than your eating establishment. I mean, it's also a bowling alley, but whatever. But yeah, so it was pretty cool experience. It was a nice way to round out day one, and that brings us to day two of Southeast Game Exchange. Now, this is the long day. I was at the convention center for 12 fucking hours. So, I was at the convention center for a while, and it was a long day, to say the least. It was a very, very long day. So, let's talk about it. So, I got there just after 9, got in very quickly, and, just walked around. I didn't really find much this early. And there wasn't really a lot going on for a few hours, so I was just, walking around. I ended up stopping by a booth, because so you had all the vendors, you had the gaming vendors, and then there was the artist alley, kind of, and then there was the board games, the indie board games, and one of the indie board games there was from Vindicated, I didn't make sure I was reading that right, Vindicated Entertainment's booth. They make art and stuff, but I bought this, and we'll get into this tomorrow, but I did a demo for this game, Guillotine. It was a very fun demo. It was mostly what I was doing prior to the opening, the official opening, and boy, did the floodgates flood. We'll come back to this in a minute, But yeah, it was a cool booth. I enjoyed the playtest demo, local too, which was really awesome. That was fun. And then I went to go meet my friends. We looked around for a while. I didn't really find anything. I kept running into members of the Runaway Guys, which we'll talk about them in a little bit. But I kept running into Tim and Emil, and I was like, you gotta talk to them. I never did. Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was great stuff. Very nice, very cool. Like I said, not a lot happened until about 1 p.m. We got some food. The food there was actually pretty good. Their pizza was actually pretty good. I must say, I am more impressed with the convention center's food than I was with Spare Time. I'm gonna get banned from Spare Time for making this video. The arcade was subpar, the food was subpar, their bowling's the only good thing, and at that point I'm just gonna go to like the many other bowling alleys. There's actually not that many as I say that. The next big thing that was going to happen was the Scott the Woz Q&A. So Scott and Sam, or Jeb Jab, came into the panel room. We stayed for the guy who ported Toy Story 2 to PCs panel for a little bit. We were there at the end of that one, but we ended up staying for Scott's, of course. Now, before we talk about this, I do want to talk about the very few things I ended up buying on Saturday, because it really wasn't a lot. I've already talked about the bulk of what I bought for reference, but the main game I bought is a classic. It is Mario Sports Mix. This was my number 2 game. So I found Dawn of the Dragon and Hoops 3-on-3 the day prior, of course. Dawn of the Dragon. But I found Mario Sports Mix, and I was so happy. I got it for a decent price, all things considered. It's a little beat up, but it works. So that's what matters. Yeah, so these were kind of like my main 2, and then I already put Hoops 3-on-3 up, but Hoops 3-on-3 was like my number 3. So I found the games I was looking for, which was really awesome. But yeah, so I picked up Mario Sports Mix. I've been meaning to pick this up for a little bit. We played it around not Southeast Game Exchange. We played it around Summer Games Fest. It was pretty fun. So I figured I'll pick it up. Should be pretty fun. So I did. So pretty good find. I'm just happy to be able to get these games and Hoops 3-on-3 and Madden 08, I guess. Madden 08 is a game that I now own for some reason. But the other thing I got were these little keychains. I've been eyeing stuff like this for years, and I figured, might as well get them this year. They're pretty cool. They're just like little cardboard inserts with the games, but they're pretty cool. Got one for Cinema, got one for Star Fox Adventures. An idea I had was to get some of the Runaway Guys to sign these copies, but I figured they wouldn't really work on the acrylic, so I ended up passing, and we'll get to that in a minute. But this was pretty much everything I bought. I didn't really buy that much on Saturday, because if I'm blanket honest with you, I was barely looking around at the vendors. Did it in the morning, and then it was pretty much just like busy after that. So yeah, that's what happened. So back to Scott Wozniak. So as I mentioned earlier, I had met Scott the day prior, but we were at his Q&A. It was a simple Q&A. It just got a bunch of people. They asked questions. There was a inflated Gex in the room. That was pretty funny. I wore a Target shirt for like a majority of it. That was not as funny. But yeah, no, it was pretty funny. It was pretty cool. And yeah, it was just nice to sit in. Now, we stayed in the panel room for the next event, which was the Nate Wants to Battle Q&A. And if I'm honest, that one wasn't that great. It was 30 it was over 30 minutes of the host asking Nate questions, and then there was like 9 minutes left for everyone else to get questions. I'm like, well, it's not really a Q&A at that point. And no dig against Nate on that. That's more on Southeast Game Exchange themselves. It didn't really feel like it was. And I say this as someone who didn't really care to ask a question. I didn't really care. I didn't really care to ask a question. But yeah, no, it was the costs are made up for it. We'll talk about that shortly, because that big fan. Yeah, but I'll show off these two really quick. But yeah, so we did the Nate Wants a Battle Q&A, and that was, a nice little thing. It was, fun just to sit in and kind of listen to Nate talk for a little bit. But we didn't have a lot of time to stick around. You look down there, you gotta have like a microscope. Oh my god. Rare? That's my girl. There she is. Anyways, didn't have a lot of time to stick around though, because at 4 o'clock sharp, we had to be there for Throne Controllers with the Runaway guys. This is the first time anywhere near our area. I mean, it's the first time Throne Controllers have been done in South Carolina, which was a big deal. Spoiler alert, we did not get picked. None of us. I was one off, but that's okay, because I was mostly just there to kind of chill and everything. It was pretty cool. It was awesome to see it in person and see everyone fail except for like 2 people. Fun fact: no one scored over 2. However, I gotta give a shout out to our champion Liam. Who did not win, but Sarah ended up winning. Congratulations on getting that Switch 2 and a copy of Star Fox. But yeah, so Throne Controllers was fun. So, of course, we got the Throne Controllers pretty early. So we got the card. So this is the card I got. I was 1175, 1174 got called. I'm not bitter or jealous at all. From the year 2026. Your contestant number 1175, presented by TRG, the Runaway guys. And afterwards, they did a meet and greet. So they did signings, and they also took photos. Here is a less flattering photo of me, taken by someone else. And here is the actual flattering photo of me. With all 3 of them. It was very cool. Got to meet all of them. It was great. But they also did signings, and of course, as Emil explained to me, and I had forgotten this, but they give out these cards partially so that people have something to sign. So here is my Throne Controllers card signed by all 3 of them. Got Claire at the bottom, we got Chugga, Emil in the middle, and Tim Capri Sun at the top. Or Tim Skywalker. Very cool. A little damage, but kind of what happens when, So yeah, it's pretty cool. And I just have to say, it was surreal, and we'll get into this a little bit later, but it was surreal to be able to go to a Scott Q&A and a Nate Wants a Battle Q&A and Throne Controllers and a Nate Wants a Battle concert all in the same day. Dude, it was actually so cool. And as you know, I do live somewhat in the area, and like, dude, it's crazy having all these creators and all this stuff happening in, our own backyard and at a convention center where I had been to for multiple other events, and just being like, oh my god, this is crazy. Here's my picture with Nintendo from a couple of years ago, because I don't know where else to segue this in. Yeah, no, it was super cool to be able to do all this and to say I could do all of this. It was kind of a dream come true. It's why I bought the VIP ticket. And of course, speaking of the concert that I keep mentioning, let's talk about the Nate Wants to Battle concert. You want to talk about really fun? That was fucking fun. So I was kind of saying it back towards the beginning. Of course, he opened how I thought he was going to open with Mangled. Unfortunately, there was no tied up Matt Pat, but that's okay. That's okay. It was still really cool to see. My friends left pretty early in the concert. By the way, one other criticism I have is why was there a 30-minute gap between the Nerd Out concert ending and Nate's concert starting? No idea. But anyways, after my friends left, I got into the pit, and God, that was fun. A lot of great songs. He did his new Pokemon 35th song. I think it was like Journey Beyond or something like that. You can tell I didn't actually listen to it initially or originally. Some other cool songs, some of which I could barely hear. They do kind of need to fix the microphone situation, I will say, but ultimately so fun. And he ended with his version of Escape from the City, and God, that was fun. Oh my God, that was fun. But the best part was the pack opening. The pack opening was pretty funny. It was 3 packs of Pokemon cards and then Yu-Gi-Oh! That was pretty good. My favorite part of the concert had to be the fucking Beyblade battle. This is real. It's on screen. It's real. But no, it was just, Saturday was so cool. It was such a cool experience to be able to do all these things I never thought I'd be able to do, and creators I never thought I'd be able to meet, and being able to do it was just so cool. So, and it ended in the best way possible. It was a great day. It was a long day, but it was a really fun day, which of course brings us to the final day, day 3. So this was a short day, and I'll get some of those. It was a short day. I'll be honest, I got there at 9 and I was gone by 3. I had gotten everything I wanted done by 2. Pretty much. So, yeah. But, we're still going to talk about it. So this was the last day of the con, and not a lot happened, but there was a couple things that happened. So, I wasn't there for too long, but I did grab a couple things. Nate Wants to Battle had a meet and greet. And so for the last time I got to meet a creator and talk to him about the concert, Into the Earth is like one of my favorite songs, especially one of his originals, like not based on really any IP. So it was cool to, mention that, talk to Nate. He was cool. Talk about the Beyblade battle. That was really funny. I cannot stress how funny that was. I got a couple things from the booth. I got his signature on a sticky note. I didn't have anything else, y'all. You have to understand. So we'll get the signature right up and close. This is a very limited edition sticky note. Did you know? But I want to get his signature. I figured it'd be pretty cool. I also decided to grab this pen. Wasn't too expensive. Get it there. Very cool. Back is just standard, but yeah. Very cool pen. It was pretty cheap, so I was like, I figure I'll get it. Worked out pretty nice. Last but not least, with Nate's booth, this is the photo I took with him. It was pretty good. And then Google gave me an AI version. I was very sad. Very cool to meet creators that I've been watching for literal years. Like, literally all of them. I started watching Scott, like, at the end of 8th grade. I was watching Nate, like, in elementary school because of FNAF the Musical, but then also listening to his music in 8th grade. I remember that kind of fondly, actually. And Emil was literally the first content creator I ever watched. Like, that's where we're at, It was very cool. So, I'm quite happy with that. So, the only creator event that we actually attended, on Sunday was the Scott Stash Q&A. Here's a little, clips from that. It was fine. It was nice to kind of hear from all the guys. Very cool just to see Scott one last time. But immediately after, we had to head to the Carolina Game Summit, as me and my friend entered a Smash tournament. That's right, and we did play our signature Double Dante, and we got our ass kicked. We got 3-0'd in both games, although we were playing against some really good players to the point where the first team that beat us, the team that they lost to in the next round, ended up winning the tournament. And the second team we lost to were also in the grand finals. Man. God damn it. But it was so fun to be able to play Smash and say we got to play Smash at Southeast Game Exchange. It was pretty fun. So it was a cool experience being able to play Hero and Byleth one more time before never playing them again. Rest in peace, Dante. And that was pretty much it for us. I got the game sold and I met Nate all before the doors open. As a side note, the line for Nate was literally 2 people. It was 2 people. This is not a joke. It was pretty fun, though. And I got the game sold, and so I was done. But there was one last place I had to go. And we are back to Gula Team. I kind of gone by their booths a couple more times, and I was like, okay, maybe I should get it. I was like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and do it. So I did. And I am really happy that I did it, because this game is actually pretty fun. I've yet to try it with just the deck, the starter deck. We'll go ahead and get in there. I'll open it in just a sec. There you go. Open. Yeah, it comes with a bunch of stuff. And it's just a bunch of cards. It's -6. Holy shit. Yeah, there's a lot of really cool stuff. So that's pretty fun. Very happy to pick this up. Now, it's not the only thing I got. You'll have to forgive me for being a little bit of a gooner myself. I don't know. I saw the sticker. It was nice. It was one of their characters. It's pretty cool. So I just figured I'd pick it up. Why not, you know? Look, I'm not denying the allegations, okay? We stayed for like another hour-ish, and then we decided to pack it up, and we headed out early. The auction was starting. We did miss the Sungwon show Q&A, but that's okay. And overall, it was a really cool experience. Although, I do want to add an addendum, an epilogue of sorts to the event. I actually stopped by and picked up another card from this the day after, and it was this. It's one of the character cards. I think it was the character I played as. I might be wrong. I might have played as another character. But she's, you know, I thought the card was pretty, so picked it up from the local mall. So hopefully this will not be the end of my journey with Gula Team, but that is unfortunately the end of our Siege journey. Thanks all for watching whatever the fuck this video was. It's gonna be a pain in the ass to edit, I can already tell, but it'll be worth it. Again, Siege was such a fun experience. I cannot reiterate how fun this was. Spent way too much money, but God, it was so fun. It's definitely my favorite convention, if not like favorite event I've ever been to. And hopefully next year will be just as good, if not better. So I thank you all for watching, and I hope to see y'all in another video. Bye.